Today on the Buzzcast, Jim Morris and I are going to be continuing our little series on the Appraisal Buzzy Awards. Today we're talking about the Lender of the Year. It recognizes leadership, innovation, and commitment to improving the lending and valuation process. You're going to want to stick around. This might be a lender you want to work with.
Don't believe the fiction that property data collectors do the same job as appraisers. Property data collectors and appraisers have two distinct roles. Property data collectors perform an objective, fact-based collection and reporting of data and do not provide an opinion of value. Appraisers develop and provide an opinion of value on the property using various sources. Get the facts at fanniemae.com/propertydata.
You're listening to the Appraisal Buzzcast with your host, Hal Humphreys.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's Appraisal Buzzcast. I'm Jim Morrison. Let me bring back in our host, Hal Humphreys. Hey, Hal, how are you doing?
Jim, I'm doing fantastic today. How are you, sir?
I'm doing really great. Well, we are very excited for today's episode. We're doing another Buzzy Award. This Buzzy Award is for the 2026 Lender of the Year, and we are so excited to have Jason Raver, the Vice President of Mortgage Underwriting at North State Bank. Let me bring him in. Hey, Jason.
Hey, guys.
Jason, man, thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to have an actual lender on the podcast. You guys are the first bank in the country to get a UAD 3.6 compliant report through the process. Tell me what that was like. Tell me why you think that was an important thing to kind of lean into and commit to.
Well, I think that ties back to kind of North State Bank culture. We're a bank that's not scared to do things that are first. And so leading the industry to make a better product for the customer is in our DNA, it's in our culture. So it was kind of a natural progression to be that early adopter. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. I know that on the lending side of things, at Val Expo last year, we hosted an event pre-conference called Hitting the High Notes, where we talked about what lenders are doing to get prepared and get ready for 3.6. And I'm really impressed that you guys were able to get it through the door first. Jason, again, thank you for taking the time to be with us. Congratulations to North State Bank on being named the 2026 Lender of the Year. If you don't mind, introduce yourself. Tell us who Jason Raver is and how you got into this business.
Thanks, Hal. Thanks. We appreciate that. So I think about 23 years, I guess about 23 years in the business. Just started off like most people. You come in, you start processing, and you work your way up through the ranks, right? I'm not sure you guys, you start off as like a junior appraiser and you work your way up. And this industry has a way of, always having change. So as I've progressed through my career, I've been able to do a lot of different things and find myself here at North State Bank here working towards helping our customers.
So this business of getting obviously, if you're the first bank to get UAD 3.6 through the door, tell me about the prep and what motivated you guys to do that. Tell me about how you got ready to do that, because that's not a small lift.
Yeah. What's surprising about that is it really wasn't that complicated for us. And that, so you're probably shocked to hear that, but, North State Bank really empower everybody at every level throughout the organization to make decisions. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't having to go up and have difficult conversations about, hey, we need to start doing this. Processes at every single level here were already in motion. Okay. So really what facilitates it is the collaboration between everybody. And more so, really, we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for our vendors and the appraisers and the software companies, because we could have gotten our ducks in a row to do that and push forward with it. But if we didn't have excellent partners that, we've known about 20 years in the industry, bringing that collaboration together to really find those details. If we didn't have the software piece, it wouldn't work. If we didn't have the appraisal piece, it wouldn't work. If we didn't have AIM's dashboard, it just wouldn't flow. So I got to really say it's a collaborative effort between all vendors.
When you think about the tech stack necessary to pull something like this off, you're not just dealing with appraisal software, you're dealing with loan origination software. The entire tech stack everybody has to be singing off the same sheet of music.
Sure. And again, that goes to if you're a lender out there and you've got proprietary software, that's going to be a heavy load for you to carry, right? Again, we're really nimble in the fact that we've created some really great relationships. So the software system that we use, they were up and running. And those are things where, yeah, some conversations, we had to work collaborative together to make sure that was in place. But when all the partners that we work with were already doing those things, it just made a melting pot to really come together, work really well.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, from a lender perspective, what
Mhm.
stands out to you about UAD 3.6 as compared to the legacy appraisal format? Is there anything like that you're like, wow, this is great?
Absolutely. First, I would say format. Change comes, 23 years looking at appraisals on the legacy format. You are, from a lender's perspective, right? You are going through multiple pages to look at one thing. Format is so key. So I love the format because what we've done is brought all those pieces in one section. And that is a huge lift. That is a huge time saver. It's more concise. And, I always use the example of amongst our team, we've been talking about like water view, for example. You come through page 2, check the box for water view, but then you're scrolling through the report to maybe find a picture, maybe not. And then if you want commentary on that, you're going multiple pages deep in verbiage and details to try to find what kind of water view you're talking about. Is this a pond? Is this a puddle? Is this a lake? What kind of value do I add? And this new 3.6 just formats it all in one chunk. And that is huge for the customer. It's huge for the lender. Yeah, it's a win all the way around.
I think from a review and a quality control standpoint, that is one of the biggest things that I like about UAD 3.6. And I'm guessing, Jason,
Mhm.
you don't just work with one appraiser. So
No, no.
you're not just going through an appraisal report trying to find the commentary. You're going
Mm,
through however many hundreds of different versions of an appraisal report trying to figure out where this appraiser put the commentary. And that's really
that's right.
frustrating.
That's right. The legacy report just, that's why in underwriting, from an underwriter's perspective, you're literally reading every word of the report to see, did that add value? Are we, where's it going? And can you just imagine everything in one spot? So if you have an issue with it, you can just simply address it right there.
The the GSEs call these data clusters where everything
Yes.
goes right where it's supposed to go.
Yes.
One of my biggest frustrations as a reviewer on occasions is highest to best use in the form is a one line question, is it or is it not? If not, please explain.
Mhm.
And like you would have to use a number 2 point font to fit in anything like an analysis in the space provided. And you have to go pawing through the back of the report to find those things. So
Mhm.
I think it's, look, there has been, and tell me if I'm wrong about this, Jason. I want your perspective on this. From
Sure.
my perspective, for the end users on the lending side, and then take it a little bit further downstream,
Mhm.
borrowers who are looking at appraisals, trying to understand them.
Mhm.
Under the legacy format, it's really difficult to understand what's going on because you jump back and forth and back and forth. Under UAD 3.6, the transparency is so much better.
Not just is it better, there's more details, there's more facts, and the facts are strewn together to make actually a more robust report, not just for you as an appraiser to be able to stand behind your opinion of value. Me as a lender, following your conscious stream there, I could then have a better, more robust report to then send to agency and then to the customer because, again, the customer is the end user and what we're all doing this for in this business. They can actually, like you said, understand it.
Yep.
And that's where I go back to that water view. Like if I had to paint a picture for anybody, for a lender, or anybody that wants to see the difference between legacy and the 3.6, is the borrower's already walked the property. They've already said, hey, I'm on this, I'm in this, I want to potentially purchase this home. The appraiser shows up, you've walked the property. Me as a lender, we never see the property. So most underwriters will pull through the report and look at the photos first because photos kind of paint 1,000 words. And then you're going through the report, like we talked about, trying to find the data points to go with it. So now as a lender, my flow process is I'll actually start with page 1 and go through. And at the end of the day, hell, I really feel like I've walked the property in the shoes of the appraiser. And as a lender, that's really valuable, right? As an agency, that's valuable. And as a consumer, they then have a report that matches their experience.
I think it's really useful for those of us on the appraisal side of things to hear from a lender what you just
Mhm.
said. This is the
Mhm.
important stuff. This is what
Yeah,
matters.
yeah,
And being able to tell the story of the property so that someone who has never been to the property can understand what their potential risk is going to be. Let
yes.
me ask you this. How did appraisers, AMCs, and your tech partners respond to being part of this first U83.6 process? Were they excited about it? Were they nervous about it?
I don't think anybody was really nervous. Maybe a couple of the appraisers were, we had Adam do our first one, right? So I would say overall, just right out the gate, there's a lot of enthusiasm. So it kind of goes back to our culture again at North State Bank, doing challenging things, stepping up to the plate. Well, all of our partners have the same mindset. So you imagine when you get on a call and work things out together, and that other person's excited and enthusiastic about, hey, let's figure out this problem or let's contribute to what we're trying to accomplish here. It makes it so easy to want to pick up that phone call and have that conversation. So between software, our appraisal management system, our appraisers, they were just over the top happy and quick to respond. And the agencies too. I just couldn't believe the responsiveness from the agencies. They were such a good support partner. So,
Yeah, that's really good to hear.
Mhm.
One concern I know my lender friends have is just this risk management picture.
Mm,
We touched on this a little bit, but I want to dive a little bit further into
sure.
it. We've got these data clusters. We've got this really nicely structured data approach to U83.6.
Mhm.
Um, how is underwriting quality and consistency improved by this?
So that goes hand in hand. If you have consistency, my experience has been you get better quality, right? So now, like we go back to that water view, now we have format, which again, if I had to drive anything home on this, is format of the 3.6 is fantastic. So by having that format, I mean, you're getting lift from, I'd say appraisal reviews from a lender's perspective is reduced by about 15 minutes. I know we've got more data, the pages have gotten longer, the review time is going to be shorter. Obviously, not on the first ones we do, but I can technically see a 15-minute lift from an underwriting perspective of how to go through the appraisals. And that is going to create better quality. And also, lenders need to be aware that when you start going into the SSRs, for example, and I think people are going to be surprised to hear this. Typically there's 6 findings. There's a range of about, on average, about 6 findings on SSR. Well, what we've experienced with 3.6 is it's been shrunk down to 1 or 2,
Oh, wow.
and they're clear and concise. So from a lender quality perspective, okay, here's my issue from the finding. Do I need to address it? Now I can go to that cluster within the report and simply address it and not have to go through the whole report again. Because sometimes you get those difficult reports, you're now looking at an hour and a half review time where you're really cutting it down. A difficult review is now becoming the standard time of a standard review.
Yeah, yeah, that's incredibly
That's
helpful.
huge.
Did you guys have any lessons that you learned in this process of being first through the gate? Did you have any lessons you learned that you would like to
Mm.
share with other lenders that would help them in the adoption process?
Um, I think the first mindset you have to have, and this comes if you've been in the business a while, embrace change. If you just right out the gate say, we're going to run with this and not push this off and wait till the last second, you're going to be so much more ahead of everybody else. And then you're going to start finding the lift from it right away because, again, that format is so critical in consistency and quality. So it kind of ties back to what we just talked about. And again, if you really want to dig into the weeds on it, think about that SSR report that we just talked about. When you are lumped in with 6 findings and you're as a lender are just digging in the weeds on it, it gets overwhelming. It becomes really time consuming. And now that we have concise findings that may or may not need to be addressed, that's a huge win. So be excited about that. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, and I think it's important to point out that, we talk about these things in like individual appraisals and looking at them, but you're dealing with so many appraisals that a 15-minute savings on one appraisal saves you
A lot of time,
a
a lot of
lot of
money.
time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The economies of scale here
Mhm.
are substantial for a lender like you, and I would encourage other lenders out there to listen to this podcast. If you've taken the attitude, we're just going to wait until it's mandatory and then we'll figure out how to do it.
Mhm.
Start getting your head around this, because I think it is a smoother process specifically
Mhm.
for the lending side of things and get through the process. Jason, looking ahead, how do you
Mhm.
see U83.6 influencing appraisal review, underwriting efficiency, and the overall lending process?
Overall, we're going to see, again, more efficiencies, better quality. Um, in addition, we've mentioned a little bit about the additional data points, right? But when you really start looking at the data that's flowing into the clusters, you again are getting a more robust opinion of value that you can stand behind.
Yeah.
And the agencies, in my opinion, are then going to be able to see and support where the lender's coming from, where the appraiser's coming from with the value. And it's very co-synced together in really making sense now, especially when you think about it. We're looking through a lens of a customer. If a customer can read it and understand it, a lender can understand it, an agency can understand it, and that is really going to be helpful to drive clear, consistent value throughout the industry.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, let me ask you this. This is off script, but what would
Sure.
you say to an appraiser out there who is reticent? They're maybe even considering, look, I've been doing this for 25, 30 years. I'm just going to get
Sure.
out of business. I'm going to do this. What would you say to them about U83.6 and the change that is?
Um, I really think it really ties again back to that point about your value is going to be strongerly supported, right? So you may have a little more time on the front end, but I really think the key for them is going to be, do I want to follow a legacy software system, or do we want to follow a new, more technical method? And I think that you really have to wrap your brain around how your brain works and go with what works for you, but don't be scared of the change. I probably would go with the more current software methodology, my personal opinion. But again, everybody's brains work differently, but there's options out there for you. You don't really need to go hang up your hat and say, "Oh, I'm going to retire or move on." You have options. Find the software company that presents it in a way that works for you. Make the
Yeah.
tool work for you.
And I'm not in the least bit surprised by that answer. Number one, number two,
Mhm.
like not only you, Jason, but North State Bank, you
Mhm.
guys have been kind of on the leading edge of technology. You were the first bank to do a fully digital closing in 2020. Is there something, I think I know the answer to this because you've talked about the culture, but why
Mhm.
is embracing change and technology so important to your bank?
I think to skip to the end of that question, it's really about the customer and the industry.
Yeah.
We want to be a leader. We have talented people. We're not scared to do hard things. And when you rise to challenges, you can effect change in a way that produces something better for the customer, but also because we are talented people here, we want to affect change in the industry to help others. And when you are looking to serve each other, serve the community, serve the industry, um, you can make an impact that's positive in the world.
Very good. Very good. Well, I have to do a thing, which is hear from one of our sponsors. And as soon as we get done hearing from them, we'll be right back.
LIA Administrators and Insurance Services, serving valuation professionals since 1978. We provide E&O insurance with a commitment to superior customer service, outstanding liability education, and unmatched claim defense. Explore our exclusive appraiser liability education by Peter Christensen and cost-effective seminars designed to foster your growth. Our underwriters, with an average of 26 years of experience each, are dedicated to supporting appraisers. Visit liability.com to discover how LIA can safeguard your business.
Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to the Appraisal Buzzcast. I'm Hal Humphreys. I'm joined today by Jason Raver from North State Bank, winners of the Lender of the Year for the Buzzy Awards for 2026. Jason, congratulations on being named Lender of the Year for North State Bank. Thank you for taking the time to be here. I'm going to tell you, Jim Morrison a lot of times comes at me with these anonymous appraiser questions to give me the opportunity to answer wrong and have people on Facebook come and shout at me. Jim, we don't have one today, do we?
No, we have no anonymous appraiser question today. So Jason, you're off the hook. Hal, you're off the hook. We really appreciate your time. You're so deserving of this award. It is really cool to see, the insight from the lender point of view. I really think the benefits you laid out will help appraisers understand why they need to do this too. And it'll help them on their end, because they're not going to have people calling them like, where did you put this information? Where do I find this on your report? It's going to save a lot of time for everyone. So we really appreciate it. We're looking forward to having the award ceremony in Las Vegas for Valuation Expo in August 16th through 19th. So we can't wait to see you there, Jason.
We look forward to it, and we appreciate you having me on the show today.
Jason, I have to say it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you and chat with you. I really have enjoyed your insights here. Congratulations one more time to you and the entire North State Bank team on being named 2026 Lender of the Year. Thank you for your leadership and for helping move the industry forward. We do look forward to celebrating with you in person at the Buzzy Awards ceremony at Valuation Expo, which will be held at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas from August 16 through 19. If you're an appraiser out there in the world and you're trying to figure out what to do in August, come out to Las Vegas. It's nice and cool. It's temperate weather. It'll be, we're inside the whole time. It's totally comfortable. Jason, thanks again for being here. Jim Morrison, thanks again for being here. Do we have anything else we need to cover?
No, that's it. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, guys.
And with that, for Jim Morrison and Jason Raver, I'm Hal Humphreys, and that is your Appraisal Buzzcast for this week.